If you're a master's student here in the UK and you want to know how exactly you should write a critical essay, this video will show you how you can avoid getting this and get this instead. For your critical essay writing, first thing you should do before you even begin writing is to go through the marking grid. Yes, you have to go through that marking grid. That's your grading scale. It shows you what is expected in order to get any of the grades. There's the exceptional grades, there's distinction, there's merit, pass, and there's fail. Some grading systems just use distinction, merit, they don't add the exceptional parts. Now you need to read the marking grid thoroughly. You have to go through it well, take your time. And when you're doing this, focus more on the highest grades that's there. That's the exceptional grade or distinction, whichever one is the highest for your course. Focus on that. It shows you everything your lecturer needs in order for you to pass brilliantly in that course. When you've digested the information that's there in the highest grade, now go and check what's in the lowest grade. That's the fail. By doing this, you see everything you need to avoid while writing that essay. The information in the highest grade, those are your do's. The information in the lowest grade, those are your don'ts. Don't go there. Just make sure you avoid doing any of the things there. I'm saying focus more on that highest grade because once you're aiming for that, once you're aiming for the highest, there's no way you get as low as pass or even fail. The lowest you will get will be merit. I know some people may just say, I'm not looking for exception, I'm not looking for distinction, I just want to pass my course. But the fact is, if you're aiming for pass, you may not even get the pass. You just get the one that follows pass, which is fail. But if you are aiming for that highest grade, the exceptional, even if you don't get that, you get the one that follows it, which is distinction, or you get the one that follows distinction, which is merit. So it's best to just aim for that highest grade. Alright, now that that's clear, for your critical essay writing, there's a paragraph structure to follow. It's really easy once you get a hang of it. Once you understand how to do it, it's easy. For every point you're making in your essay, follow this paragraph structure and you're good to go. The acronym for this structure is PECEL. PEECEL. PECEL. P stands for point. This is where you say your points. What you want to talk about in that paragraph. That's your point. Let's say, for example, in my paragraph, the point I want to make is in the UK, spring starts in the month of April. That's my point. After saying the point, we have E for evidence. Now, this is where all your academic sources come in. Because in a critical essay, everything you're writing has to be backed up. This is not the time to show your own intelligence by trying to bring up your own ideas or your own points. No. They need to see your ability to research existing work from other academics. You'll need a wide range of supporting evidence for your points. Google Scholar was my best friend in my essay writing. You'll find loads of journals and books on Google Scholar. Your school will give you different academic sources that you can use. I use Google Scholar, I use Mintel Academic, I use WAC. These are different databases for your academic source. But for me, my main one was Google Scholar. Now get your evidence from these academic sources to back up your points. If I'm going with my point of spring starts in the month of April, for my evidence, I'll go on Google Scholar, I'll put that in, I'll write it on the search bar, spring starts in the month of April, and I'll search to bring up different authors that talked about spring starting in the month of April. Now I can make my selection. Which one actually says this? What did they say? How does it relate with my point? So I'll get that and put in my essay paragraph. Now that's point and evidence done. As I'm adding the evidence to my essay, I'm putting the citation, I'm doing my in-text citation. You'll be taught how to do citation, so make sure you always cite your work. The more academic sources you can use in your essay, the higher you score. The next E is your explanation. This is where you will explain your evidence. Here you provide a detailed explanation of how your evidence is significant to the points that you made. If there are any relevant theories from your course, add them here. Add them in your explanation. You can use examples too. When writing, make use of academic phrases. There are several websites you can get these phrases from. Go on Google, search for critical analysis phrases, or check the Manchester Academic Phrase Bank. This was what I used, the Manchester Phrase Bank. You'll find so many phrases from this site for your essay writing. Now, after giving your detailed explanation, it's time to get critical. This is where the C comes in. C stands for critical analysis. Here you're going to critically analyze your points. Research what other academics have said that contradicts the evidence that you gave. Let's say you got evidence supporting your point that spring starts in April. There will be lots of critics that will not support this. You'll find several academics that do not agree with this point, and they will also give their reasoning behind their criticism. Some academics will point out the limitations and the inadequacies of your evidence. There will be several arguments on the topic. All these will be your critical analysis. Now, to introduce your arguments in the essay, make use of those academic phrases. Let's do an example. In their detailed analysis of yada yada yada, Ella and FA 2024, this is citation, Ella and FA 2024 argue that, then you give your argument, you say what the author said that contradicts to your evidence. This will be your critical analysis. Now the next E stands for explanation again. This is where you give a detailed explanation of your argument. What's the relevance of your argument to the evidence that you previously stated? Then we have the L, which stands for link. This is where you link it all back to your essay, more like a conclusion of the whole paragraph. Following this for every paragraph will give you a well-structured essay, which is a benchmark for an excellent grade. Let me give an example from one of my courses, history of public relations. For this course, we have to write a 3,000 word critical evaluation essay. They gave us, I think, 7 questions to pick from, and we were to pick just one topic, and I picked, so for my work, I was evaluating this topic. Public relations involve the communication and exchange of ideas, either in response to or to facilitate change. That's what I was working on. Let's see one of the points I made. I talked about an overview of public relations as a strategic communication process. I talked about the roles of communication in public relations. I talked about the limitations of public relations in promoting change. Okay, I think this paragraph is clear enough to explain what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's look at this paragraph. The roles of communication in public relations. So I'll start by giving my point. The effectiveness of public relations is determined by the strategic use of communication methods. Now, this is my point. The next is my evidence. For my evidence, I'm saying, as public relations is a discipline centered around building and maintaining an organization's relationship with its stakeholders and the general public. This 2017 noted that communication plays a vital role in building this relationship, managing perceptions of the public, handling crises, and promoting positive reputation. For this, I went online and I searched for academic sources that support this point that I gave. So that's evidence 1. The next thing I did was to write another evidence from another author. This is why you need to see so many academic sources. They need to see that you did your research. So I'm saying, this is further reiterated in a recent study by Cornelissen, 2020, where it is suggested that the public's perception of an organization is shaped in large part by communication. Now I'm going to explain what Cornelissen says. PR practitioners manage the image and reputation of an organization using a variety of communication channels to address unfavorable perceptions and highlight the positive attributes. Now I'm adding another academic source. Onyengo 2014 emphasized the importance of communication within an organization, that is between the employees and the management. Then I'm adding a direct quote from Onyengo. Public relations must consider internal communication because unless the organization gains support of its internal publics first, it cannot tackle its external audiences successfully. These were the exact words of Onyengo in his book, so that's why it's in a direct quote. Now I've given my point, evidence, explanation. The next thing is my critical analysis. So to introduce my argument, I'm saying, however, there is an important criticism to this. Onyengo's statement overlooks the fact that while internal communication may be essential, organizations find it near impossible to sustain a consistent messaging and engagement across their diverse employee groups. This argument now is from another author, from Mishra et al. So I am going to explain. This poor internal cohesion in communication can lead to employees becoming disengaged and having reduced morale. So this is an argument to Onyengo's point. I am now going to give a general argument to my point and to my evidence. So I'm saying, while it is established that communication is a cornerstone of public relations, critics argue that public relations often prioritizes communication for the sole purpose of creating and maintaining a positive image rather than addressing underlying issues. This argument is from Dolly and Garcia, 2015. So that's my in-text citation. Then I'm saying this approach is seen as superficial, causing stakeholders to become more skeptical. That's me explaining my argument. Now I'm adding what another academic source said that supports my argument. So I'm saying Matthew et al. 2012. Matthew et al. Means there are more than 2 or 3 authors saying this. Matthew et al. 2012 supports this argument by pointing out that while communication is vital, especially during a crisis, it may not always be sufficient to alleviate the consequences of a catastrophic event. That's my second argument. Now I'm going to explain this argument further. So this means that if an organization relies only on communication during a crisis rather than addressing the root cause of the problem, then it may struggle to regain trust with its stakeholders. That's my explanation of that critical analysis. Now I'm going to link everything together. So, thus, in a constantly changing media environment, to make use of the various communication methods in establishing and sustaining connections between organizations and stakeholders, handling crises, managing public perception, and promoting positive reputation, public relations professionals must navigate the criticisms highlighted in the above arguments. Then in my next paragraph where I say my next point, I'm going to follow this same structure, just like that for every point that I'm making. Yeah. To understand how to write critically, I watched a lot of videos on YouTube, but this beautiful lady's video explained everything so well for me. So you can as well check it out. Check out her video. This is her channel name. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye. Good luck in your essay writing.